Hello, hello. Welcome to the Superwomen Wellness Connection channel. My name is Kim Goeltom, and I'm the owner and founder of Creating Legacy Wellness. And my goal with these videos weekly is to have you learn and meet another superwoman in my local area that's doing amazing things and bringing wellness tips from her modality. So today, I am honored to have with me Kathy Walker. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Kim. Thanks so much for having me. And hello to all the viewers.
Well, thank you for being here. So for those of you who have never met Kathy, let me just tell you a little bit about her. She is an editor, a marketer, and a talent manager for a very successful author. And with that being said, I'm going to let her share a little bit about how she came to be in this industry.
Thanks, Kim. Well, it's not where I started out in my career. I can begin by saying that my editing and marketing and talent managing is a direct result of my client deciding that he wanted to write novels. It very directly impacted me because that client is also my husband, author Jeffrey K. Walker. So let me give you a little history on how we got to where we are now. We were living in a different state. Jeff was in academia, and we were open to the prospect of moving, changing job opportunities, and allowed ourselves to consider a new future. There were new job opportunities that presented themselves. There were new locations for us to consider. Meanwhile, we have a beloved home in a different place that we know we want to return to. But, there are many things to factor into this kind of decision making. So we were contemplating all of this and really not feeling particularly wonderful about any of the options except for one. And I said, why aren't we allowing ourselves to do what we really want to do? Why don't we return to that beloved home that we miss? And why don't you take a year off, client, and write? You're a beautiful writer. It's something you've always wanted to do. We have this window of opportunity for you to do it. So there was certainly risk involved with it, but we allowed ourselves to get excited about the plan. So we moved back into the beloved home, and we said, okay, we're going to jump in with 2 feet. So as Jeff was researching and really studying up on writing novels, because he's been writing for his entire professional career, but a novel would be something new. I was thinking about what I was going to bring to our business relationship. I have been informally editing since college. I taught for several years. I owned a business, and of course, a piece to any business ownership is marketing. And I think it's safe to say that I have managed and supported my clients' talent for over 3 decades. So I took all of that prior experience and those skill sets and applied them to this new endeavor in the book business. So now Jeff has written a trilogy, an award-winning Amazon International best-selling trilogy named Sweet Wine of Youth. So we're pretty far down in this journey, and we say the book business is a family business now. So that's how I've gotten to where I am and what I do right now in my career.
Wow. That is really neat how the parallels and everything has just kind of translated into what you're doing from all this stuff collectively over the years. That's really exciting.
Well, I think it's important for really for any of your viewers to realize, take stock in your experiences and your skill sets,
Yeah.
because you can use them in new and exciting and completely unanticipated, in my case, ways, and be successful at it. So it's worked for us, and we're very grateful for that.
Oh, that's fantastic. And that's perfect advice, because I know a lot of people are really kind of in that mode right now of trying to figure out, what that transferable skill set looks like and what it can translate into. So that's inspiring for people to know that they can just kind of take stock in that and look at what you've created out of yours, which is fantastic.
Well, thanks.
Oh, you're very welcome. So that really brings me to the next piece that I really want everybody to hear about. And I know we chatted a little bit earlier, and so I'm just so excited for everybody to hear, but I'd love for you to share what those wellness tips are that you've kind of uncovered and discovered through your new journey with editing, marketing, talent management, reading, and how that unfolds.
Well, it's really true that one component to this is since we are in the reading business, really stopping to consider, okay, why is this important? Well, it's an extremely beneficial thing to do. It's such an important piece to self-care. And it makes it a joy to know that we're providing a product that can really help in someone's wellness journey. There are myriad ways that reading can help, but I'm going to focus on just 3 briefly today. And the first is that reading is a stress reducer. Hopefully it's a stress reliever for you. Think about the book that you might be reading right now. Do you love that book? Are you sitting here listening right now thinking, oh, I can't wait to go sit in my favorite chair and open it up, or when I get to my bed tonight, open that book up? I mean, just the thought of being able to do that can fire endorphins and raise your mood right from the get-go, which is an amazing thing. But when you are actually reading and you allow yourself to get lost in that story, you visit new worlds. Maybe it's a new city. Maybe it's a new experience. Maybe it's a piece of history that you didn't know anything about. You are engaging with this content in front of you. You are focused on this content in front of you. And it's exciting. It's interesting. You start thinking critically. You stop. You ponder a certain section. For me, I might read a sentence and it's the most beautifully crafted sentence. And I think, I need to remember this. You write it down because you want to remember it. You want to be able to share it with someone. All of these things are so wonderfully cognitively stimulating.
Yeah.
This is terrific for you. And in that process, you are relieving stress. You are absolutely relieving stress. Secondly, when you get lost in a book, the other thing that happens to you is you are transported away from the stress.
Yeah.
You relax. Your cortisol levels might lower. Your heart rate might lower. Unless you are reading a really intense thriller, in that case, maybe they're not. But generally speaking, your heart rate lowers. You truly are relaxing your muscles, and you've slowed all the systems in your body down, which is a good thing because most of us are running at way too fast of a pace and we are taxing our bodies. So we are slowing things down, and then you're feeling happy because you're doing an activity you love. The endorphins are firing. There are so many wonderful physiological things happening while you're reading.
Yeah.
I like to say that I'm in the business of escapism, or I'm in the business of imagination or boredom busting, because that's all what reading does for you, doesn't it? And that those are all really wonderful things in terms of wellness. The second thing that I think reading really helps us with is it improves your brain health. When you're lost in your book, you concentrate, you contemplate, you continue this process of critical thinking, and you are engaging your hippocampus, which is involved in memory. You are engaging your prefrontal cortex, which is involved in both concentration and memory. And you are helping your brain to develop. Actually, there's really been research done to show that even reading can actually help to create new synapses in your brain. So I think it's really wonderful to know that the act of reading can help provide optimal brain health.
Yeah.
And thirdly, reading can help you fall to sleep. And what I hope isn't happening is that the book is so boring you just fall asleep in the book, you know. Yeah, that's not what we want. That isn't what we're looking for here at all. But what it does do is, again, relaxes you. It helps you to release tension. It calms you. And all of that prepares you. It's a wonderful foundation for being able to drift off into that deep restorative sleep that we all need to have. We know how critical that is to our wellness. If we're not getting truly restorative sleep, you're at a disadvantage and your health is not being optimized. So it's such a better option if you can turn away from the electronics, turn off the television. In our case, we don't have a television in our bedroom. We try to not have electronics in our bedroom at all. But certainly many of us have e-readers, and I would just say, be sure that you have a blocker for the blue light on there. Many of the newer models, they actually have that built in, but it's worth checking to see if you do or not, because blue light not only causes eye strain, but it can disrupt your circadian rhythms. It can disrupt your production of melatonin, which you need for that deep restorative sleep. So those are my tips for why reading is so beneficial and something I hope we're all doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, I think a lot of people with the last few months have certainly incorporated reading back into their lives if reading wasn't something that was a regular part. And now,
no, I hope so. I hope that's true. I have to say, in my personal life, I do have some friends who have said that they can't read because I think they are feeling very unfocused because of the uncertainty that this is bringing on.
Sure.
But I wish that they could turn back to it because of everything that we just talked about. because it actually would calm them down. And it's a diversion.
Yeah.
And really, we need a diversion from this. That's a healthy diversion.
Yeah.
You know, we're not making ourselves feel better by overeating or by, again, sitting in front of the television for too long.
Yeah.
It's not to say that, you know, we all enjoy television
For sure.
to some extent, but we should be mindful of how much time we're spending in front of it. And I do understand that sometimes you just can't. You can't focus. You just can't get yourself there. But I know that if you just stay with it, you know, again, your body will react positively to this, and you will be able to engage in a meaningful way with that reading material before you. You know, take some deep breaths when you pick up that book. Take some deep breaths, sit back, and allow yourself to be available to it. And, you know, an hour can go by and you really feel much better when you're done.
Yeah. No, that's exciting. And maybe that the key goes back to what you said originally, is making sure you're reading a book that truly lights you up and inspires you and excites you. And maybe it's a shorter one to start with, or even a fun magazine that will then lead into a fun book that will, start the ball rolling.
Yes, that's right. I have to say, in my youth, I was not a big reader. In fact, that's one of the things my client, he is responsible for the fact that I am the avid reader that I am today, because he is a voracious reader and has been probably since 5 years old. And I did have to go through the process of learning how to read. And as someone who is, generally speaking, very physically active, it was really a challenge to begin with. But now and for decades and decades, I couldn't imagine not having reading in my life. You know, you really, when you are in tune to it, you literally can feel your body responding to it. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Because it's like time just stands still and you get lost in this other world that you're reading about. And it's like a little adventure. And you kind of get to pick, based on which book you choose, what adventure of the day or adventure of the week that you want to go search on. And I think to add to what you were saying earlier, especially with times right now where some states still have a little bit more restrictions than others, and obviously some countries as well. And if we can't get out, then what a great opportunity to take advantage of diving into a book and entering a new world, a new experience, a new journey without even having to leave our home, but feeling like we did.
Yes.
Awesome.
My client writes historical fiction. And the trilogy is set during World War I and the 1920s. And we have heard over and over again from readers that one of the things they've really enjoyed about it is the fact that it talks about a period of time that we, particularly as Americans, don't know a lot about. What we learned in terms of either one of the world wars, it has to do with World War II. There's very little time spent on World War I. So it really is an educational opportunity to read the books. And the 1920s was such an interesting time in really around the world. I mean, there were all kinds of cool things going on, the avant-garde period, the birth of jazz, and it goes on and on. So it is a wonderful escape. It's just a wonderful way to delve into a period that you may not know anything about and come out again feeling really excited, and maybe even like you want to actually learn more about it, which is even better for your brain then. You know, now you're really actively trying to learn, and that's always a wonderful thing for your brain.
Definitely. No, that's exciting. Thank you. And for those who are interested in the trilogy and learning more about the client and what he's writing about, I will make sure I have that listed below in the description, as well as some information on Kathy. So if you wanted to, you know, connect with her, follow her, learn more about, you know, what her and the client are working on, you'll have that opportunity. Just double check the description below. So I really want to thank you for taking time to be here with us today. And Kathy, before we end, I just wanted to ask if there was any final thing that you may have thought of that you wanted to share, or not.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity to be here, Kim. It's great to talk with you and great to engage with your viewers. Consider a book club, everybody, because another benefit of reading is that social engagement with others and sharing your thoughts and maybe arguing even a little bit. But that connectedness, I think this period of pandemic is teaching us how important the connection is with other people. So a book club is a great way to go. So think about joining a book club.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, thank you again for your time, and look forward to hearing all the new things that you and your client are doing over the next few months. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.